there comes a silent moment in every human life when suffering no longer arrives because the world has become cruel, but because the mind continues to bargain with reality, insisting that people should act differently than they do. That kindness must always be returned with kindness. That loyalty must survive every temptation. That justice must prevail over selfishness. And that those who know your heart must surely understand your intentions. Yet the universe has never signed such an agreement with you. And every expectation that demands the world obey your private hopes becomes another chain wrapped around your own peace. Freedom does not begin when others become better, wiser, or more honorable. It begins when you no longer hand strangers the authority to determine whether your spirit remains calm or falls into chaos. The first expectation you must abandon is the hope that every good deed will be remembered with gratitude. Because the moment generosity becomes a transaction disguised as virtue, it quietly ceases to be virtue at all. I have watched men risk everything for another's comfort only to spend years wounded because the recipient forgot the sacrifice almost as quickly as it was received. Yet nature never promised that memory would be as faithful as your intentions. Offer your help because your character demands it, not because another person's appreciation completes it. For a noble action has already fulfilled its purpose the instant it leaves your hands. If gratitude arrives, welcome it with humility. But if silence follows instead, let your conscience remain untouched. Because the value of your actions was never meant to depend upon another person's ability to recognize them. The second illusion that steals peace from countless minds is the expectation that life should always be fair, as though the universe measures every hardship before allowing it to fall upon a human soul. Every morning, I governed an empire where honest men suffered while dishonest men prospered, where wisdom was mocked and arrogance applauded, and where fortune seemed to scatter rewards with astonishing indifference. Had I demanded fairness before accepting reality, I would have become a prisoner of resentment rather than a guardian of reason. Justice is an ideal worth practicing, but fairness is never guaranteed by existence itself. And the person who insists that life repay every effort with equal reward will spend more time arguing with fate than improving his own character. Accept that the world distributes circumstances unevenly, and you will discover that your greatest power has never been choosing what happens, but choosing the dignity with which you answer it. Many believe loyalty is something they deserve simply because they have loved deeply, sacrificed greatly, or remained present through difficult seasons. Yet loyalty cannot grow where character itself is weak. If someone abandons you when comfort disappears or opportunity appears elsewhere, they have not stolen your peace unless you insist that their nature should have been different from what it always was. Do not measure your worth by another person's consistency, because unstable souls have always changed direction with the winds of convenience. Instead, measure yourself by your own ability to remain principled, even when betrayal invites bitterness into your heart. The strongest fortress is not built by collecting faithful companions, but by cultivating a spirit that remains whole, even when companions choose another path. Perhaps the heaviest burden people willingly carry is the endless desire to be understood by everyone they encounter, explaining themselves again and again as though clarity alone could overcome another person's limited perspective. Yet every human being sees the world through the narrow window of personal experience, private fears, hidden ambitions, and silent wounds that you cannot possibly control. Some will misunderstand your silence and call it arrogance, while others will misunderstand your kindness and mistake it for weakness. And no amount of explanation will persuade a mind that has already decided what it wishes to believe. Therefore, do not exhaust your spirit chasing universal approval, because your responsibility is not to govern every opinion but to govern your own conduct with unwavering integrity. Remember this above all else. Expectations are often invisible, chains that appear harmless, until they tighten around the mind, convincing you that your peace must wait for gratitude, fairness, loyalty, or understanding before it can finally exist. The Stoic does not withdraw from humanity because he despises people, but because he refuses to surrender the government of his soul to their unpredictable behavior. When you release these expectations, you do not become colder. You become freer, because no insult can rob what is no longer dependent upon praise. No betrayal can destroy what was never built upon another's promises. And no misunderstanding can shake a person whose identity rests firmly upon virtue, rather than approval. Master this discipline, and you will discover a truth that emperors and philosophers have guarded for centuries. The strongest person is never the one who controls the world, but the one who no longer requires the world to behave according to his expectations before he can. Remain at peace.